We are at Buttonwillow Raceway Park for Cal Club Championship SCCA Racing. We are getting ready for our third race of the day. In this race of the day, we have the F production cars, GTL, STL, T4, STU, B-SPEC, and H production cars. Those are our cars for this third race of the day on this Saturday, June 27th, here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. I'm Brian Belansky with the race call today. Let's get your starting order for race 3, beginning in our back row, row number 9 on the outside, or on the inside. Actually, the only person in row number 9 is Bobby Bayer in the H production Toyota Yaris. Row number 8, you've got Dale Shoemaker on the outside in the STL number 52 car. Your B-SPEC car of car number 126, Dylan Mosayan, is on the inside of row number 8. Outside of row number 7, Jack McEachern in the STL number 21. Jim Rivas will drive the 0 car in STU. He's on the inside of row 7. Row 6 on the outside, Philip Clark. He is in the number 33 T4 car. The inside of row 6 is Michael Lee. He is in the number 19 STL car. Row 5 on the outside, David Link, number 98 STL. Next to him, number 73 STU car of Tim Hunter. Your fourth row on the outside is Michael Updegraff in the GTL car. It's now car number 44. Next to him, Dominic Starkweather, car number 112 STU. Your third row on the outside is Craig Stevens, number 32 GTL. On the inside, Morgan Trotter, number 61 STL. Your second row, Wesley Molino, STL, car number 10. On the inside, Taz Harvey, car number 8 at STL. And your front row on the outside is Brian Lynn, car number 21B GTL from Hermosa Beach. And from Fullerton, your pole sitter, car number 66, Ben Valentine, driving the H production MG Midget. All right, lights are out on the pace car. When the pace car pulls into the pit lane, your field will be under the control of Ben Valentine. As they come down towards the starter, starter for this race is Chuck Phillips. He'll have that green flag ready to go. If he likes what he sees when the field comes towards him, he will wave that flag, and we will be underway for race group 3 here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. We're operating clockwise on course number 14. We have lots of courses here to choose from, more than 20 configurations. Most can run both clockwise and counterclockwise. Our pace car is in the pits. Our main field is coming onto the front straightaway. The starter's looking to see whether they're lined up nice and tidy before that green flag flies, which it has just done. So we now have 18 cars, 17 cars barreling down towards the first corner here. We are racing here 3 wide, about 6 rows back. 2 wide side by side for the front rows. We'll see if these cars make it through without making a big old dust pile. That's how I know. All the cars made it through the first corner safely. They're now heading towards the off-ramp to head towards the back straight here at Buttonwillow Raceway. So far, things look clean as those cars all make it through there. I don't see too many dust clouds at this point in time. Side by side now, heading towards Cotton Corners and then towards the Grapevine. That Grapevine corner 11 is where we've had most of our problems today. Seems like a lot of dust and stuff in that area, and of course with the hot temperatures makes that very slippery. Our first place car of Ben Valentine has opened up about a 10-car length lead early here as he goes through the dogleg and towards Riverside. He will open up a bit of a lead here. That lead's probably not terribly surprising because the gap between first and second in qualifying, they're different classes, of course, was a little over 2 seconds. So that FP car, that F production car, will certainly be faster than the GT Lights car of Brian Lynn. So that little gap there is not very surprising. We are moving down towards our first lap completion. Once our first lap is done, I'll be able to give you a nice rundown here of how our cars have done as they made it through that first lap, what the running order is at this point in time. We're running 25-minute races here, so our races are time specific, which means the number of laps varies from race to race. This is one of our, I won't say our slower group, but yeah, it's one of our slower race groups. So they're probably going to get in 11 laps or so, I'm going to guess here, of racing in the 25-minute period that we have. We had a one car incident in the first lap. Car number 61, that's Morgan Trotter, had a little spin and continue in our what is considered turn 1 here, but it's the final corner before the start-finish straight in the configuration that we're running. All right, so let's take a look at our running order right now after the first lap. Ben Valentine's our race leader. He opened up a 2.7-second gap over the STL car of Taz Harvey in second place. The third place car is Wesley Molino. Fourth place is Morgan Trotter. Fifth place is Craig Stevens. Brian Lynn is in sixth. Dominic Starkweather is in seventh. Michael Updegraff, eighth. Your ninth place car is David Zink. 10th is Tim Hunter, followed by Jimmy Rivas, Michael Lee, Jack McEachern, Dylan Mosesian, Philip Clark, Dale Shoemaker, Bobby Byer is in 17th. That's your running order at the completion of our first race lap. Got a couple of incidents with car number 19. Car number 19, that is Michael Lee. He had an off and on at turn 12, which I think continued on to turn 11, so a little bit of an off-course excursion there for the 19 car. That's that section of the track I was talking about earlier that tends to be a little problematic. It gets real dusty, and of course, you know, right now our temperatures here at Buttonwillow are 93 degrees at a little before 11 o'clock in the morning here. So you add 93-degree temperatures with a little dust and grime, and that particular corner tends to be problematic here. We're 5 minutes into a 25-minute race here. We've completed 2 race laps. Still no change up front. Ben Valentine's your race leader. Taz Harvey's in second. And Wesley Molino, Morgan Trotter are second, third, and fourth. Now, that's going to be interesting. We have, and we haven't had this in the first couple races, that's first, second, and third in STL. So those are 3 cars within a second and a half of each other, all racing for the lead here. So it'll be fun to watch those 3 cars battle it out here as we work our way through this race. Again, very early on, only 5 minutes in. We've only completed 2 race laps. We're keeping to a time certain race length today because of the temperatures. We're trying to get people out of here before it gets extremely hot. High temperature today at Buttonwillow is predicted to be 107 degrees. Those temperatures typically don't happen until a little later in the afternoon, so we're hoping to be off the track by about 1:30 this afternoon, so that we don't have to worry about getting people sick because of the heat. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. That is the order of the day here. Whether you're driving a race car, whether you're working the corners, whether one of your volunteer workers, we want to get everybody out there drinking the water, maybe a sports drink, dropping an electrolyte tablet into your water if that's the way you get your nourishment and your hydration. But hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. That's what we're trying to convince people to do today. This is our first race back, too, after we shut things down for the coronavirus. So it's possible that some of these drivers aren't necessarily in tip-top race shape because if they have been out of the car for so long. So that's another consideration to keep in mind here. All right, we are 7 minutes in, 3 laps complete here. Once we get to the halfway point, I will be happy to deliver a full field rundown of where we are right now. Your FP class leader is Ben Valentine. Your STL class leader is Taz Harvey. Your GTL class leader is Craig Stevens. The leader in STU, Dominic Starkweather. And your B-SPEC class leader is Dylan Mosesian. The T4, at the lead of T4 is the 33 car of Philip Clark. So those are your, in H production, Bobby Byer is the class leader right now in H production. So that's your class leaders here as we move towards the 10-minute mark here in our race. 4 laps complete here at Buttonwillow. The cars continuing to circulate here at Buttonwillow. Taking a look again now at the gaps. We were talking about that race for the lead in STL earlier, and it has become, unfortunately, not quite as interesting. And Taz Harvey's happy about it. He's now opened up a 3.1 second gap between him and the second place car of Wesley Molina. That third place car of Morgan Trotter, that's a car that had a little bit of an off-course excursion, and he is now that car is now down 2.4 seconds, 3.4, almost 5 seconds back from the third place car. So that has not become the gaps have widened there, so it's not quite as interesting as we had before. Another off course at that turn 11 complex, that 10-11 complex. The 0 car of Jimmy Rivas had a little bit of an off there and has continued. You know, it's a difficult day to plan for these cars. It's a difficult day to determine what tire pressures to use because, unfortunately, or fortunately, maybe fortunately, you know, we don't race very often at 93 degrees outside. And, you know, it comes a point in time where tire manufacturers just don't make tires that really stick well in 93-degree temperatures. Our track temperatures today, I'm going to guess, are well above 100 degrees. I'm going to guess that we might be even getting towards the 120-degree mark here on track temperature. And it's just, you know, a lot of these cars are racing on shaved street tires. So, you know, and even the slick tires, they're not made for these temperatures necessarily. So you really have to make some good strategic decisions as to, I mean, the compound probably isn't a big decision because you just take the softest compound you can. Although if you put too soft a compound, it'll degrade so fast that by the end of the race, you'll have nothing left. But you've got to make some really smart decisions and especially try to, you know, go back in the notebook and see what tire pressures might work in these conditions, and that can be tough to do. So very, very interesting to see what happens here as we move our way towards the halfway point here in our third race of the day. Also want to take a moment to remind everybody that we're going to continue racing out here at Buttonwillow in September. I will get you that race date here shortly. Here it is in my wonderful packet of information that was provided to me by our race chair and the race chair's crew. Fantastic folks out here helping us run these races. This is the final Western Conference U.S. Majors event. It'll be September 5th and 6th. That's Labor Day weekend out here. We'll be back at the track racing, and that'll be the last chance to qualify for the runoffs at Road America this year. So I'm sure we'll have big car counts that weekend as we get things underway and we start to get ready for our final national championships. Ben Valentine has gapped out a 9.4 second lead over second place. Valentine's driving the F production car. Taz Harvey's in the STL car. So that is that's going to give us our halfway point. 6 laps complete, almost 13 minutes in. I'll give you a full field rundown at this point. Ben Valentine is your race leader, car number 66 in F production. Your STL class leader and in second place overall is the 8 car of Taz Harvey. Wesley Molino, STL, he is in the 10 car. Is in second place in class, 3rd overall. 4th place is your class leader in GTL. That's Craig Stevens, followed by Morgan Trotter, Brian Lynn, And your STU class leader in 7th place is the number 112 car of Dominic Starkweather. Jimmy Rivas is 8th. Michael Uptegard is in 9th. Tim Hunter is circulating in 10th. Christina Etherington is in 11th. She started at the back of the field because she did not have a qualifying run. David Zink is in 12th. Jack McEachern is in 13th. Michael Lee, 14th. Dylan Mosesian is your B-SPEC class leader right now in 15th. Philip Clark is your T4 class leader in 16th, followed by Dale Shoemaker, and your HP class leader, Bobby Byer. That's your full field rundown here at for race 3 at the halfway point. We're 14 minutes in, 11 minutes left in this race. So far, all the boys and girls out there are playing nicely. No big problems, thankfully. I think at this point in time, with the temperatures the way they are, we might just be trying to get to the finish here and get to a nice cold drink of water. 93 degrees out just before 11 a.m. out here. We moved the entire schedule up today. Our first cars are on track at 6:30. Normally that doesn't happen until around 8. We did that to be able to get our racing in before the temperatures got real high. Those temperatures today, in the heat of the day, will supposed to hit about 107. Tomorrow, much better weather. Still hot, but our temperatures are only supposed to get up into the low to mid 90s tomorrow. So a better day for us ahead tomorrow as far as that goes. But so we're trying to race the cars and race the heat here to get our stuff done. After this race, we have 2 more races left today here at the racetrack before we call it a day. Today we'll be back out here tomorrow for the same rundown. Now tomorrow, what we're doing is we're going to run the races in reverse order. So the people who raced in the hottest part of today will get to race earlier tomorrow, and the folks who raced when it was cooler today will get to take the heat tomorrow. So anyway, that's the kind of modifications we've made, because we don't typically race out here this late into June because of the temperatures. Typically, we take a little break between Memorial Day and Labor Day because it is just way too toasty to be driving a race car in June, July, and August typically. So all right, we're still we're on 8 laps complete. We've got about 7, 8 minutes left in this race. No changes up front. No changes at the front of the field. Ben Valentine still your race leader. Taz Harvey is in second place. That gap now 12.6 seconds. Valentine's in the F production car. Harvey is in the STL car. There is no race for the lead as far as in classes go between those two drivers. There is a 15-second gap now between first and second place in STL. So there's no real gap there, or there's no real race for the lead at this point. We do have a car off the track now, right in the dog leg. Not quite sure what car number that is. Hard to see from here. That car is completely clear of the racetrack, but it is in one of the fastest spots on the racetrack. So it looks like they'll probably go out and send out the emergency services crew to tug them at least a little further from the racetrack. So they're kind of out of harm's way there. It's really not a great place to be, because it's kind of right where cars are making a little left-handed bend, and they're on the outside of that bend. And that is, like I said, really one of the quicker parts of that track. So I will try to see if I can figure out which car that is once I can kind of see where things go. We'll be able to see on timing and scoring which car is not going, still not circulating. Our emergency services crews are going out to snatch that car at this point. I have to tell you, folks, I've been racing and involved in the SCCA now for almost 30 years, and the emergency services crews out here at Buttonwillow, some of the best I've ever seen. They will go out and make quick work of getting this driver out of a bad spot. The other thing you want to do is with these temperatures, you want to get that driver out of a hot car and get them some water because they can overheat really, really quickly at that point in time, and you want to make sure that they stay safe. So we've got about 5.5 minutes left in this race. The tow is getting up to the car right now. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a car number at that point in time. Trying to get you a car number for that car out there stalled. Just hearing now that it's car number 61. 61, that's Morgan Trotter. That was your third place car in STL. And so that car has now finished its day. We're now 4 minutes left in this race. We've finished 10 laps, so we should be getting the white flag here not too far down the road. Once that happens, I will let you know. Now things are getting a little racy. Several quick and dirty on and off track situations here. They're happening somewhat fast and furious, and I'm having a hard time keeping on top of them. But we've had now 3 incidents. We're just quick on and offs here as we get, of course, to the end of the race. Of course, with the temperatures, we get to the end of the race, the tires get a little greasy, a little slippery out there. And, of course, each time one of those cars gets off the course, it puts some dust on the course, and then the cars behind it's got to go. So now we are now heading towards the final. We are in the final lap. The white flag is out for Ben Valentine, and he is now on his final lap as we move towards the finish of this race. We see a big dust cloud here after the first corner, which is between turn 1 and 2, 1 and 16 here. Not quite sure which car went off there. All right, our tow is on the way. And that car is actually on the hook, which makes me think that there's some sort of a mechanical issue or a flat tire that won't allow that car to roll on its own. So they've actually pulled the front end of that car off the ground. So either some sort of a mechanical problem or a flat tire for that car number 61 of Morgan Trotter as they pull that car off the track at this point in time. All right, our leaders are now making their way towards Phil Hill for the final time. We'll wait for them to get towards our start-finish line here. Our starter, Chuck Phillips, will display that checkered flag. He's got it in hand and ready to go. Right now, Ben Valentine is your race leader. 16 seconds the gap last time by. So barring some sort of a mechanical problem, he will win this race. Here he comes now towards the start-finish line in the MG Midget, number 66. That car, folks, is 25, almost 50 years old. That car is 45 years old. It just won the race here. Car number 66, Ben Valentine. Your second-place car coming across the line right now is Taz Harvey. He will be your STL class winner. Waiting for Brian Lynn to come across. I anticipate he will be your GTL class winner, and he is. Second place in GTL, fourth overall, is Craig Stevens. Wesley Molina should be our next car to drive across the start-finish line here. He will be second place in STL if nothing has changed. All right, Wesley Molina comes in fifth, followed by Dominic Starkweather. As slow as Molina was going across the line, he almost got caught there by Starkweather. Tim Hunter is seventh. 44 in eighth place is Michael Updegraff. And ninth, you had Jimmy Rivas. Waiting for your 10th place car, number 96, Christina Ethington just crossed the line. And the 11th place finisher was David Zink. 12th through 16th, Jack McEachern, Philip Clark, Dylan Mosesian, Dale Shoemaker, and Michael Lee. The 18 car of Bobby Beyer finished 17th. Morgan Trotter was the car that had the mechanical issues on the back straight, finished 18th. And that is your full field at the end of race number 3 here. So your class winners here, your podium is Ben Valentine in F Production, Taz Harvey in STL, and Brian Lynn in GTL. They were also the FP, Ben Valentine class winner. Taz Harvey won STL, and Craig Stevens Brian Lynn won GTL. Your STU class winner is Dominic Starkweather. B-SPEC was won by Dylan Mosesian. H Production by Bobby Beyer. And those, T4, almost missed T4, that was Philip Clark. So those are your class winners here in Race Group 3 here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park for the Cal Club Championships here in Race Group 3 on Saturday afternoon.